Hey guys, welcome to day 3 of this vlog thing. I realized yesterday that my day seemed really short, but I worked about 10 hours yesterday. I tried to note that in the video from when I sat down at my desk till when I actually got to leave work was about 10 hours. So any video I filmed after that was from like almost like 5 o'clock on or something like that. There's only a tiny little bit taken during the day, and it made my day seem really lopsided when I watched the video back. So I got to try to figure out a fix for that, and I'm going to try to shorten it more. This one was the last one was a few minutes shorter than the first one, and I'll try to hone it down. If I can keep them under 15 minutes, closer to 10 minutes, I think that would be good. So that's my goal. I'm going to try not to chatter too much. If I make a segment where I'm talking about some specific thing, I will probably put that in its own video and maybe just mention it. I'm going to make a video about that, and then I'll put a separate video so it's not sucking up the whole daily vlog thing. I think that's a probably more productive way to do this. And then those things will be out there for a broader audience, because I don't think anybody wants to sit through these all-day ramble fests that I've been making. So that's the plan for today. We'll see if I pull it off. And getting Skype right now, so I gotta go back to work. See you in a... Oh, I don't know if you noticed this or not, but on my previous 2 videos, the ends of every clip cut off in the middle of me saying whatever my last word is, and I don't know what that is. It's something my camera started doing in the last few days, where when I talk, when I go to stop the camera, it just does not save that last little bit. It's like there's too much in the memory or something, and it saves what's there. I don't know what that is. I just restarted my phone to see if that helps. Another thing that happened is, on my first video, I was able to go into my video clips, which is usually how I do this, because I don't have time to edit my videos. So if there's cuts in there, I usually just have few takes, and I just grab them and drop them in, and then export it, and they're all in order. Last night, everything was all mixed up. It was really strange. So I don't know if when I was downloading my previous content onto my backup drive, if I changed a setting or something. It's really been strange. So it's all I could think of. And I installed another app the other day, and I wonder if that's affecting anything. I don't know. I'll let you know if I figure it out. But just something I'm thinking about. It's part of my day. Here it is. Part of my freaking day. So again, trying this for a week. This is going to be day 3. So 4 days after this. Hopefully it's not too boring. Alright, I'm done with work. I am just finishing the clay up for this. I just need a little bit more cleanup. This is going to make a lot more sense once I get this thing set up here in a few minutes and start pouring the silicone. Then I've got 2 steps to do tonight, and then I can move on to the other side. Silicone in this mold here that I was working on. Now what I'm doing is, this mold has a stem that comes up. There's a little piece. Instead of filling the entire mold this deep with silicone, it's going to be considerably less expensive to fill this cup with the silicone, pop the cup off, and then fill the base. And I've done similar things in the past. It works just fine. And especially this mold is going to be used, you know, they want it to be around for a while, but it's not going to be used for like a production thing where there's going to be dozens and dozens of parts. It'll probably be, I don't know, 10 parts at the most, maybe a little more, and it should be plenty fine for that. So I'm mixing the silicone right now. This hasn't been used in a little while. It's not old or anything, but you definitely want to stir this stuff up and scrape the bottom beforehand. It gets like these little, I don't know if you can see it on here, but there's some chunks at the end. This is Platinum Cure silicone made by Smooth On. It is Mold Star 30, which is a 30 durometer silicone rubber. It's very low viscosity, so you don't need to degas it, which is really nice, and it cures in about 4 hours, which means I can do this first step and then the second step all tonight before I go to bed. I might even get to the 3rd step because it's still pretty early, so it'll be about midnight, but I might be able to get the other side started, which will be very good. So anyway, I'm done with work, clearly. This is what I'm doing. Get this thing done today, and then McMaster can have his mold by Saturday. Now, if you have seen my video in the past where I did the mold with the, what is it called? What the hell did I call this stuff? Did I get it right? I don't remember. The heck is this? Yeah, this is Mold Star 30. That's what I said. I used to use Mold Max 30, which is a 10-cure silicone. It's still good. It's a good silicone. All the molds I've ever made with it have held up awesome. I've got some right here. These are Mold Max molds. More of them. I use them all the time. I've made dozens and dozens of castings out of those. Like the small one that I just picked up first, I've probably made hundreds of castings out of that mold, and they're still holds up just fine. Haven't had any problems. But it's a little more of a pain in the ass to work with because you have to measure by weight, and it takes a full 24 hours to cure before you can demold. And this, the kit of platinum silicone, this is almost $200 for this kit. It's a little less, 190 something. Whereas a kit of the 10-cure silicone is $100. But the 10-cure silicone is one bucket this size, and then a small container of the Part B, which if you saw my old mold making video, you'd see that small container of the red liquid. And this, the Part B, is another gallon. So you're getting almost twice as much material for about twice as much money. So it's not really that much more expensive. You just, I think I did the math one time, and it was like $5 a gallon difference as far as volume goes. But you just have to buy twice as much material at once. So that's why it seems expensive. But I love this stuff. I feel like it demolds a little easier. It's easier to work with. Sets faster. Doesn't need to be degassed. It's kind of awesome. So if you're going to buy silicone, just splurge and get the extra kit, and then, you know, put it to use. Just, you'll find stuff to use it on. If you're making parts and costumes and props, you're going to find use for silicone all the time. It's just the handiest stuff. So anyway, I'm going to go mix the stuff up, and I'll be back. There's our mix. Put this back up here, and I'll tilt this down a little bit so you can see what I'm going to do. Let me check these cups here and see how much extra material I have. I'm going to mix these in, because why not? A little bit here, a little bit here. That's good. A little bit longer mixing to get that last little bit mixed up. Scrape the sides, always scrape the sides, always scrape the bottom. Sometimes what I'll do too is I'll trim the ends of the popsicle stick so it's flat, and that means makes it a little easier to scrape the bottom if you need to, but this is fine for now. This is a pretty small batch. There we go. And then I'm pouring this in. Should be good. So this is what I mean by the high pour. It's a very, very thin stream of silicone, so most of the bubbles are going to pop on the way down. Now you'll see I have a piece of a tape roll on here around the cup. That just helps to keep the cup round, because I cut the top and it changes the dimensional stability of the cup. It makes it very flexible. So putting this piece of tape roll around the outside of it helps to prevent it from bending in a way that is not to my liking. So here we go. I'm hoping that too much of this doesn't leak out of the bottom. Doesn't matter if it does, but it's better if it doesn't. There we go. Now I'm going to have to add a little more to this in a bit, but that's not a problem. This is just a good start. While this silicone is setting, I'm going to have to top this off. So I'm going to let it sit for maybe like an hour, hour and a half, and then top it off so it'll be ready for the next step. And while that's sitting, I am going to do a little test on this 3PO here. I have some... He looks good on camera. I don't know what it is, but when I hold him up to the camera, he reflects really nice, but he does not look like this in person. When what I'm seeing on camera is not what I see when I'm sitting in the room with him right now. He just looks like kind of metallized plastic, but not good. But in camera, man, it looks, he photographs really well. But anyway, I'm going to repaint this guy, And while I was doing the all-clad stuff a while back, a few years ago for 3PO, I have some leftover paints here. I have polished brass and pale gold, and I'm going to test these out and see which one looks best. And whichever one works, I think I have enough pale gold to probably paint the whole 3PO, but I don't know if I have enough of this polished brass still. So I'm going to test this, and we're going to see. Got my hose here, and I'm going to plug directly into my big compressor. I'll turn this down a little bit. So it's not overpowered here. We don't want this spray too strong. And then I have this little, what do you call this? A little hose here that I can use to plug directly into my compressor, which, you know something, I think I have to actually take off my water trap, moisture trap, whatever you call this thing. But the airbrush can hook directly to my compressor, which is very nice because the airflow is about 100 times better than using a little airbrush compressor. It's nice and smooth. Here we go. Single stage. Real nice. Let me turn this up a little bit. That feels like it's going to be good. Alright, so I don't know what to do here. Polished brass is a pretty good color, but I'm going to try the pale gold first since I have more of it. If it looks good, I'll go with it. Nah, you know what? Looks like it's going to work. So I'm going to put some in this container. Just a little bit. Should be more than enough to get started here. Now this is a single stage airbrush. I do have multiple other dual action airbrushes as well. Let's see. Get this thing rolling here. Alright, so it's spraying. I'm trying to pale gold first. I'm just going to go right for the back of the leg here. I don't know if I can get a better angle on this. My camera seems very close, but it is what it is. Here we go. I don't want to spray this in my new silicone in case there's some kind of weird reaction, so we'll go this way. So I don't know if you can see a difference here or not. This leg is with, this leg is without. Gosh, it almost looks better without in the camera. In person, it looks better with, but in the camera, it looks better without. I'll go ahead and spray the rest of this leg here. This definitely, again, you can't, it doesn't, I swear the plastic side reads better on the camera, but in person, this one reads better. This makes it look less plasticky. There's something about the plastic where you can kind of see the light going through the surface a little bit, and it keeps it from looking like real metal. Whereas the other side now is not the case. It kind of makes it opaque to the light, so we don't get that subsurface scattering that makes it look like plastic. So it's almost exact color. Let me see if I can get the light in a better angle so you can even see the difference. So this is the painted leg, and then the other leg's non-painted. It looks almost the same in camera. Unimpressive. In person, this one definitely looks better. Interesting. So I know that now the polished brass, color-wise, matches matches the toy. Boy, I'm knocking everything down. So anyway, that's a look. Let's see. Should I try this other stuff? Let me pour this out, and I'll test this on the other leg. I'm not even gonna clean this out. I'm just gonna do this pretty half-assed, if you know what I mean. Just because it doesn't really matter all that much in the scheme of things, you know. All right, so pale gold. I think I may have just put the rest of the pale gold back into the polished brass. So. Or vice versa, the polished brass into the pale gold. So I may have just mixed my paints. Oh well, that happens. Well, we're going to try to mix then, because why not? The only thing that I hope isn't bad is the sometimes these paints, the carrier agent, the actual liquid that carries the metal will be slightly different. Some of them don't mix well. I haven't mixed these two before, so I don't know. But the chrome and the pale gold don't mix well. The chrome, the brass mix okay. It's tricky. So anyway, let's see here. Let me get this thing opened up. Okay, it's sort of going again. So I'm going to paint the other. Actually, you know what? I'm going to paint right on this same leg again. See if it makes any difference. I'm going to paint right over what I just did. These colors are pretty close. There's my computer, turn it off. There's a lot of boogers in this because the paint is old. I'm getting definitely some spots where it's not cooperating. Come on, there it goes again. It's clogging up. I start the camera and it clogs. So let me see. Let me get this thing. I have all these idle things that my friend Eric was over. He wanted to cast a couple of them. And he's trying to rotocast them, but he was doing in one shot and putting too much resin. So I got a couple duds over here. If anybody wants one, let me know. So this is actually kind of killing the paint a little bit. It's not shiny. So I'm hoping I can polish it. Never mind. Jeez, this thing's fighting me like crazy. Let's look here. Last time I checked it, there was a big gnarly booger of paint stuck in the tube, which looks like it's come back again. Gross. Yeah, it's all like gooked up. This paint is old, so these things are likely to happen from time to time. It's kind of spraying. Yeah, the pale gold has the metal flakes in it are a lot bigger than the polished brass. So the polished brass has a finer look. Pale gold's color is kind of nice. It's just doesn't go on real shiny like the other stuff. See, I kind of deadened the surface. It looks pretty good actually. Now it's starting to look good in camera. I guess it looks. I don't know. And it's this leg here. It's a little more dead, but it kind of looks more like the movie suit on camera. Let's see. Boy, this thing is not cooperating with me. Alright, so on these airbrushes, there's a little hole in the top of the container here. Now sometimes that'll get clogged too, and that'll keep the paint from coming out. Something to note. Happens. All right, so the pressure's really high right now. Not optimal for all clad, but we're gonna go with it for this one. Wow, it's a little much. I'll get your red arm out of the way, buddy. That's a little too much paint's coming out, but it is what it is. Alright, so you see it's between the torso and the legs. Legs don't look bad actually now on camera. This color seems to read a little bit better than the other color, but the finish isn't quite as good as the polished brass. I think had a little bit nicer finish, but this color reads more like the movie suit. I think it looks pretty good. Movie suit, again, in Force Awakens is a bit hazy, Let's turn the pressure back down a little bit. It's a little much. All right. This definitely isn't the most careful way to do this. And it will be nice if some of that polishing technique works with this paint. However, I don't know if it does. Now I gotta get his face. I'm gonna repaint the arm. His red arm, I'm gonna repaint by hand. So it doesn't really matter. And I'll touch up his eyes again. I don't think it looks bad. It's one of these things, it reads almost the same in camera, but in person it definitely looks more substantial. Like it has more of a real finish, whereas before it looked like plastic. You could see that subsurface kind of lighting, which is, that means is there's a little bit of light actually making it into the plastic, and the bounce back from the inside of the plastic is visible. Not like you can see through it, but you can tell that light can, you know, penetrate the surface a little bit. I almost feel like it doesn't need much more than this. It's pretty subtle. I'm going to let it cure. I'm getting used to the two-part stuff. I'm let this dry a bit, and then I'll give it an attempt to polish it. So, just something to experiment with while I was here working on this. I'm going to go clean out my airbrush, and I'll be back. And then, excuse me, camera. And then I'm going to take a stab at painting this sandcrawler wheel with just some acrylics. So, these are the things I do while I wait for other stuff to happen. Experiments with paint. It's fun. Alright, so I've got the sandcrawler wheel. This is one that I just cast out of straight expanding foam. There's no resin skin or anything. That's what you should do with this stuff, but I just wanted to experiment and see how it would come out, so I just dumped it in there, and then I got a little wheel. So I'm going to see how it paints. What I'm going to use is this really cheap Walmart type like craft store acrylic paint. This is like probably $1.50 or $2 for this whole tube, and I'm gonna just give it a coat of black and just try to seal everything up, and then from there I will add some different colors and see if I can get kind of a weathered sandcrawler look, kind of what we were doing with spray paint, but I'm gonna see if I can cheat it with a brush and see if it looks good. So I'm gonna put the black on now, and I'll just be back. I don't need to waste all your time watching this. I'm just putting a whole glob of this crap right on the top of the wheel, and then I just spread it around, keep it smooth. I figured I would show this. I was not going to before, but I figured I may as well. I don't know what I'm missing out on by not showing it. But yeah, I'm going to get a coat, one coat, let that dry, see how it looks, and then thicken it out from there, and just keep going until it's basically covered. And the whole thing is painted this black, and then I will add the other detail. Like I said, I'll probably almost dry brush the whole thing with different colors to give it like the sandcrawler brown with like some rust and some metal streaks and all that. I think it'll be pretty cool. It's already looking better than I expected it to. So it's holding the paint real well, I should say. So yeah, I'll be back in a moment and we'll check it out some more. So while the silicone has been drying, I have been 3D modeling some chopper parts. They may come in handy for McMaster. I'm going to get these all modeled up while I have his master parts in hand, since I can do the dimensions. So these will match the parts that he made from scratch. And that way, if he wants to articulate them or anything, they will be available, which will be potentially handy. And if not, then we still have them just in case. So that'll be cool. But now I got to get back to pouring more silicone. Fun party time. Okay, so I just finished modeling up those chopper parts. They need to be modeled correctly for printing, but the basic shapes are all there, the sizes are right, so probably tomorrow I will go through and make everything actually function and be printable. So that's another whole set of stuff, but I just needed to get the basic dimensions into the computer so that I could start to work on them. I am still working on this mold over here, which is not totally cured yet. It's a little bit cold out tonight. It's probably in the 50s. I don't know. It's sort of chilly. I had the door open, and that can make the silicone take a little bit longer to cure. So right now, I'm going to feel it really quick. It's pretty firm, but it's not quite ready to demold my little spout part yet, and I can't pour the rest until I can demold the spout. So that is going to have to wait till probably the morning. It's not too late now, but I don't want to be up forever. I did a little more painting on this sandcrawler wheel. It's all black. I added a little bit of a grayish silver kind of brush on coat, but it's going to get some dry brush color. I decided I'm going to basically dry brush all the different colors on it, and then touch it up, maybe make some rust, and see how it comes out. Alright, so the wheel is still wet, but it's looking more like a metal item now. I need to let it dry a little bit, and then I'm going to do some rust effects on it tomorrow. And then I will probably go over a little bit of the palette that I use. I don't know if it shows up well in the camera here. It looks okay in camera. I think once I get the little hits of rust and stuff on here, it's going to look better. But I'll go over the palette that I use to make this kind of worn metal look. And it's all really, really cheap paint, like all Walmart stuff. Very, very cheap. Very cheap paint. Probably, I don't know, $6, $8 worth of paints, but they'll last a long time. I barely touched them using this, doing this, making this. I don't know what the heck I'm trying to say. I've been working too much today. But anyway, I think this is going to be the last shot of the day, and I'm going to go inside and throw these clips together and then probably go to bed because I got to get up early tomorrow, finish that mold, get back to work, etc., etc. Thanks for stopping by. Hopefully this one was a little shorter. We'll see.